And welcome back to another episode of Underdog Podcast. I hope everybody had a great holiday week. Hope you got out and had some fun. Saw family, friends. Hope you didn't lock yourself in because you're worried about getting sick or anything like that. Go live your fucking life, man. Go live your life, bro. That's all you can do. You die today, you die tomorrow, you die 10 years from now. At least you know you got your ass out and try to fucking live. That's all you can do. I took a trip to New Orleans, Louisiana, with my family. It seems to be like an annual thing we're starting to do, taking trips around, I guess, Thanksgiving, Christmas time, holidays. Not necessarily always going far, but just getting out. I had a good time. I am a history buff person, so I like to know a lot of history. And I mean, I grew up watching the History Channel. That lets you know what type of fucking nerd I am, right? Like, what kid watches the History Channel? But I don't know why. I used to love watching like World War II stories on the History Channel. And anytime they talk about the Bible, anything biblical, I used to love that shit, man, because hell, the Bible is like the big ass sci-fi story, like a big ass sci-fi book, man. Like the most mystical shit happens in that Bible, in the Bible, with all their fucking millions of books and stuff that's in the Bible, not in the Bible. You have the Dead Sea Scrolls, Agnostic Bible, and all those different things. Mary Magdalene, and was she or was she not Jesus' wife? But whatever. But so actually, I'm a big history person. So when we got to New Orleans, just to see all the historical things, because it's one thing to be taught history in the books that are taught in school or that are given to us in school, but it's another thing to actually go to the physical places and see it with your own eyes and your own physical senses, and also feel the energy, and you can feel that it's a historic place, and it's a multicultural place, and it's multi-language. I didn't know the Spanish was heavily involved in New Orleans, but until I got there, I started seeing shit with Spain this, Spain that. Of course, the French was in New Orleans as well, and and they have their whole Creole culture, language, and stuff like that. We went to go see Mardi Gras World, where they build the little floats and different things for Mardi Gras. That was cool. Actually, I really enjoyed that, and I'm glad we got to go see that. So that was just to see all the different. I took a picture with Roger Rabbit, and I should put it on my blog site. I should write a blog about it and put the pictures up and stuff. Yeah, actually, no, I think I will do that. I just thought about it. I should do it. But it was a good time. It was a good time, and it was also interesting to see in contrast from living in Florida during this COVID-19 situation, issue, pandemic, bullshit, whatever word you want to use to describe it, to each their own. But to go from Florida, where we don't have the lockdowns and been in phase 3 and don't have the statewide mask mandate in my own city since October, there is no mask mandate, to go to Louisiana that has a statewide mask mandate, and in New Orleans, the city itself having their own mandatory mask and other things like that, social distancing. But I ain't gonna lie, man, to go outside, we like to we like to get a house or something like that in mainly the heart of the cities, in a place where we can walk to a lot of the different things and stuff, or if not, then use a public transportation. A lot of these old cities, we went to Savannah, Georgia last year, and they have places, and the places like that in historic cities, they usually have like a trolley or something like that. So just to being in the city and being down in the areas, being able to walk around, it just kind of not blew my mind, but just to see everybody walk around outside with a mask on. And I was like, man, we're outside, far away from each other too. And I can see you're thinking, oh, if it's really crowded. wasn't fucking crowded at all. In fact, shit, I advise you now's the time to fucking travel. Because when you do go to places, there's nobody fucking there. Like, we was kind of like, hey, this is pretty awesome. And even within my own family structure, some of us are more concerned about the virus than others and stuff like that. But and I'll touch on that a little bit later. But just be out and walking about, like we went to the Superdome and the Smoothie King Arena. We got some great pictures, and my kids and my little brother running up and down the steps like, that shit was cool, man. There was nobody there. There's no events going on and stuff like that, so it was wide open for us. Like, hey, I'm sorry, to each their own. Like, hey, if you want to sit inside and if you're worried about a virus, stuff like that, hey, that's your prerogative. That's your choice. You do what you want to do. Me, I'm glad you kind of stayed your ass at home, because now I get this. I feel like I had the whole arena and the Superdome, the stadium, to myself. Granted, we was on the outside, but damn, I wish I could have got a chance to go in. But from the outside looking in, and the structure, the way they have it, it looks amazing. Fuck the Saints, but it looks amazing. I can't help it, man. They beat my Bucks twice this year. Embarrassed us on fucking Sunday night. Oh, man. But yeah, it was great. And one thing, though, man, New Orleans look kind of fucking ugly. I'm sorry. If I offend anybody that from New Orleans stuff, I don't care. That shit, it's trash in the city and stuff, man. It's like trash all over the place. And it's not super trashy, but it looks like a gloomy city. Like, I don't know what it is, man. And trust me, it wasn't like raining the whole entire time. And I don't know if it looked different before New Orleans, before Katrina back in 2005 or 2005, but yeah, it's not that pretty looking right now. I mean, of course, there's still some great areas around the city, and I'm talking about more so in the the heart of the city, the district, downtown area, and stuff like that. You still have some nice buildings, but it's kind of like this. Like, we were walking to a local market, and as we went underneath the bridge, you have homeless people everywhere. So I don't know if that's because of lockdowns, and the economy is struggling, or it's been like that since Katrina and other hurricanes. I don't know what is going on, but all I know is, hey, somebody needs to do something around this motherfucker. Like, hey, somebody gotta do something, man. But as we're walking down, we see, and we're walking across the street, we're going underneath the bridge. There's a homeless man. He has his whole setup, bro. He has his mattress out and stuff, whatever. Middle of the day, he's laid out and stuff, like, and then they're up there by the corner of the street, with their signs out asking for food or change. I forget what they were asking for. But you have that. Then you cross the street, and then you have the local news network, which was an NBC affiliate, right across the street. And it's like, man, hey, y'all not gonna report on this homelessness right here? Like, what? Like, how you cross the street, and then you have this, and then other parts of the city, you see homeless people here, homeless people there, and stuff like that. Of course, I've been to major cities and stuff, so I've seen homelessness, but just not like that. Just kind of putting not context, but kind of give you an idea. I live in Florida, so I've been to Tampa, I've been to Orlando. I mean, I've driven through Jacksonville. Trying to think of major cities. I've been to Charlotte. I've been to Atlanta. I've been to Philadelphia. I've been in downtown Philly. Been to Seattle twice. Yeah, so just pretty much the major cities. Oh, I've been to Denver. Forgot about that. And I'm probably forgetting some other cities as well. But so, I've seen different cities and how they are. I mean, yeah, you throw an asterisk on there. This is a lockdown COVID-19 year. But still, man, like, you got a question, like, what is going on? Are these lockdowns, do they affect cities? Or, like I said, I can't say that per se, or I can't say that exactly is specifically the reason for how New Orleans was looking, because they had the hurricanes and stuff like that over the past 2+ decades. But damn, damn, like we still had a great time. And it's still a nice city. It's historic. It's been around since 1718. So they're past their tricentennial, their 300-year mark. So, and there's tons of culture. There's tons of music. Music is a real big thing. That's something my son noticed. He's like, Dad, there's a lot of music. It's like, yeah, that's what they're into. A lot of music. And also one big thing you notice too, because as they were talking about Native Americans being in New Orleans, they were talking about Native American tribes that go in the parade and stuff. Guess what they showed? Quote unquote, black person. Oh, shocking, right? Oh my God. It's not the redskin. Wait, redskin is offensive. I'm not supposed to say that because they took it off the football team. So I can't say redskin. Redskin is offensive. Black people isn't. Cool. Black skin is powerful. Black skin is beautiful. Red skin is offensive. Even though it's contradicting and it's a double standard, doesn't fucking matter. It all makes sense. It's perfectly logical. It's so fucking stupid. Oh man. So we didn't take any tours. We just went out on our own. Saw different places every day for the few days that we were there, and it was a good time. And I was telling my kids, like, hey, just appreciate it. Appreciate anytime you get a chance to see other parts of the world, other parts of the state, other parts of the country. Just anytime you get a chance to get up and go travel away from where the fuck you live at and just have an experience, right? Just have an experience. Whether it's positive, negative, you have an experience. That's what it's all about. Experiencing new things, different things, just experiencing something else other than what you're used to. Because how the fuck are you living and not experiencing anything? Because guess what you're doing? You're not living at all. You might as well curl up and die. Yeah, damn, you're probably like, damn, bro, you're gonna curl up and die? That's a fucked up thing to say. I mean, it is what it is, though. Sometimes you gotta be so literal and direct just to shock people's nervous system and hit their emotions. Like, hey, if you're not out there living, what the fuck are you doing? Right? Because you can live in your house, you can live in your city, but you can also live and travel and do other things. And it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to do nothing grand. You don't have to do nothing and post pictures. I remember one of my family members was like, oh, you taking pictures? What are you taking pictures for? You don't have no social media, you're not going to post it. I was like, what? I know, right? Crazy concept that I'm taking pictures just for myself and for my own memory and to pass on, whether that was a joke or not from them. But either way, it is what it is. But it was a good time. It was a good time. I think it only really rained once, and we actually went into a mall, so we got away from the rain. We wanted to take one of the riverboat cruises. We did that last year when we went to Savannah, Georgia. But, well, damn. Their tours were sold out, right? Because push come to shove, no matter who you are, at some point in time, you're going to say, you know what, I had enough of this shit. I want to get out and do things. I'll take my chances. Everyone does their own risk level assessment. And you will always constantly gauge your risk level assessment, and your level of risk management will constantly change. Nobody wants to jump out of a plane until all of a sudden they build up the courage, or all of a sudden it's like, hey, fuck it, let's try it. And they jump out of a plane. Obviously with a parachute on. If you jump out of a plane without a parachute on, I don't even think it probably shouldn't be allowed. You probably didn't jump. Somebody probably pushed you. But you get what I'm saying. One thing I noticed too in the city is like the sidewalks. It's things like restoration, like rebuild the city. Like the sidewalk is all, it's all imbalanced. Like high, like part of the sidewalk is protruding upwards or outwards, and then the sidewalk is all messed up and the cobblestone is messed up. Restoration, beautify your city, beautify the place where you live at. And yeah, especially in historic areas, you don't want to do too much because you don't want to mess up the historic value or whatnot. But at the same time, come on, man, do something. We went down Bourbon Street. I don't know what Bourbon Street looked like before. Like I said, I don't know what it looked like before new Katrina. I don't know what it looked like before lockdowns in this year, but that shit did not look cool at all. A lot of debauchery, a lot of adult stores and things like that. Obviously, don't take your kids there at nighttime. Of course, we walked there during the day. Like I said, my 2 kids and my little brother is around the same age too. So it's just wild though, man. It's fucking wild, bro. It's wild. And as we were looking, like, there's locks on all these doors and stuff, and these businesses are shut down. And it's like, but I told my kids and my little brother, I'm like, look, this is good because you're experiencing, like, you're seeing, like, what happens, like how things can affect a city, which can affect the economy, which can affect the people around them. Like, there's cause and effect. Now we see the effects. What the causes are unknown to us because we're tourists. In fact, we don't really necessarily care, but at the same time, it's good information to have because to pay attention that if you don't really take care of the economy and what's going on, other things start to affect people's lives and stuff. Because, hey, we're going on this economy that seems what, in modern civilization are increased larger size of tribes. It's about economy. How do you manage resources, things of that nature. But just to be in the city and feel the energy there and the different things that they had, and to walk down Bourbon Street, and I guess one business was closing. And so, when a business is closing and shutting down, they'll bring in a dumpster, or even if somebody's moving their house, they're cleaning out a house, they're clearing out a house. They bring in a dumpster and they throw everything into that dumpster, and then they finally take the dumpster out and empty it. Well, I guess they were throwing away alcohol. And if you see where I'm going with this story, people just in that bitch just fucking going through the bottles and stuff like that, and just handing out the bottles and stuff. And I guess one of the bottles broke. I guess my son was like, I guess he was nervous that it was a gunshot. I'm like, I don't know what sound effects he thinks a gunshot sounds like. He plays Call of Duty all the time, yet broken glass don't sound like a gunshot, guy. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but I guess he was just on edge anyways. But it was interesting too, because I like to point out these contradictions because they're so blaring, and I've been tuning myself to notice all the obvious things that really a kid would see. But like I said, as adults, we've been so brainwashed and programmed that, to deprogram yourself, it's going to take a long time. And you have to shock your nervous system. You have to shock your reality to really just start to see all the blaring, obvious bullshit and the contradictions and double standards. Like I said, they worried about the virus. They worried about statewide mask mandate obviously in the city as well, in New Orleans. Yet I can walk around with an open container of alcohol and be drunk. So at one point, you care about my health, and the other point, you don't care about my health. Or you care about the money that gets involved and stuff. And then, if we thought it was cool that, look, they have alcohol to go. Now, don't get me wrong. I personally think you should be able to drink alcohol in the open anyways, because fuck it. Why not? Why not? Obviously, you can still not be disorderly drunk in public. But at the same time, why I can't walk around with one beer? But that's just me. I'm just saying. That's just my opinion. That's just my thought. I feel like I put that disclaimer out there. And whatever. Who gives a fuck? It is what it is. But just walking down that Bourbon Street, and I'm just like, okay, is this the Bourbon Street that's supposed to be famous? I'm constantly checking the sign at every intersection. Like, yeah, we're on Bourbon Street. This is Bourbon Street. I'm looking. I'm like, so is this whole part of Bourbon Street is good, or is there a good part of Bourbon Street, or is it supposed to start at Bourbon Street? Or are we supposed to cut down one of these other streets and look different? But we were just like, this is it. And the street is narrow. Obviously, like I said, it's an old city, 300 years. So, the street is narrow, but at the same time, it's like, all right, a lot of things look shut down here. A lot of locks, a lot of straight up padlocks all over the place and stuff. Like, and then you go like a couple streets over, and then you have like business, more of I guess another business district, but then you have towers and you have banks and stuff like that. So it just puts things into perspective in a sense. But I guess really it just gives you an idea of what goes on, right? It just gives you an idea of what goes on. So for Thanksgiving, we haven't been doing the traditional turkey bullshit. Like I said, I did an episode about Thanksgiving, so there is no actual traditional meal to have anyways. It's just wherever the fuck you feel like doing it. The turkey and all that stuff probably seems, more than likely, seems like a corporate marketing scheme. But so what we did, I guess you can go back to the so-called first Thanksgiving, 1621, which we talked about. That it's not necessarily the first Thanksgiving, because you have what was going on in St. Augustine in 15 something, but I think 1568, something like that. But at the same time, you also, the turkey tradition, whatever, eat wherever the fuck you want. So we went to a Japanese restaurant down the street for Thanksgiving. Once again, indoor restaurant. You walk in with your mask on. You take your mask off when you sit down and eat. Kind of defeats the whole purpose, but whatever. And we had Japanese food, American style Japanese food, which fried rice and all the other stuff, and chicken wings, fried chicken wings, and wherever else. My kids had sushi. I forget where everyone else had the stuff, but I had duck. Yes. So while everybody else is eating duck in America eating duck, everybody else is eating turkey in America for Thanksgiving. My ass is eating duck. I'm fucking eating Daffy Duck, right? I'm eating the fucking Mighty Ducks, bro, just for Thanksgiving meal. And that duck was good as hell. That shit was good. It was. I think it was fried too. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was fried, and it was in plum sauce. I'm not necessarily one for plum sauce, the sweetness. I don't really like sweet sauce, but that shit was good. And it was a lot too. We got a lot. I felt like, damn. I was like, damn, y'all really killed fucking Donald Duck back here. Like, thank you. Y'all really brought this shit out. Like, I ain't having like just a leg and maybe a thigh. I fucking had a bunch of it, like 3 or 4 pieces. I was like, man, I didn't even eat it all because I don't have a big stomach. I mean, I eat constantly throughout the day, but I don't have a large stomach. My dad is the same body type, but he has a large stomach. He'll sit there and eat like 3 plates. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me where it goes. But that's how it is for him. So whatever, maybe good genetics, whatever. Just go with that. Who cares? But that shit was good. There's things like that. Don't be afraid to do something different. Because if everyone is doing the same thing and you follow on and do the same thing, are you doing what you want? Or are you doing what is expected? Or are you doing what goes along with the social norms? Once again, that ties back into the race and prejudice and social bias and stereotypes. It's Thanksgiving, right? We're dark-skinned people, quote unquote black people. I hate that fucking term. But here we are eating Japanese restaurant, and I ate fucking duck for Thanksgiving. And you're probably like, what the fuck? But now I hit you with, why not? Why not? Who the fuck said you can't have duck for Thanksgiving? Who the fuck said you can't have sushi for Thanksgiving? See, you break the mold. You break all these stereotypes. You break all these social norms. You do something fucking different. In fact, you do what the fuck you want to do. Cause we go to New Orleans, and then we the gumbo. God, I had a gumbo. I forget what the place was called. It was something market, or I think maybe it was a French Quarter market or French Quarter restaurant, or I don't know. Cause we was in the French Quarter area and down the street from the French Quarter market. But I had some gumbo. I had fried alligator. My daughter had fried oysters. My son had fried shrimp. And everyone else had some other different things, something different. Except for my little brother, he taste bugs is bland, so he's not eating that. But good shit, man. That gumbo was good as hell. good as hell. I was like, oh my God, it's some good ass fucking gumbo, bro. Oh my God, this shit is fucking amazing. Like, just do something different, man. Do something that you want to do. Like, just don't be stuck doing the same thing. I know my family, my parents always talked about doing things different. Or my dad's always, be yourself. Don't follow anybody. Be a leader. So it's things of that nature. And I'm trying to think what other food we had that was different. But yeah, so that's how our Thanksgiving meal was. It was funny because while I was there, I was on Twitter, like, still just when I had, just time sitting at the house and stuff, relaxing. I was just on Twitter, still making sure I keep up with all the election fraud news and voter fraud or whatever. Shit is rampant and so much evidence. It's downright disrespectful. And to me, is a fucking crime. Literally a fucking crime that the mainstream media won't report it. So, like I said, I've been calling out my local news in the Bay Area, Fox 13 News. I've been calling them out because they get on my fucking nerves. Because on their Twitter page, they just refuse to report facts. Like, stop trying to persuade me into a decision. So I called them out on something. I forgot what it was. I don't feel like looking it up right now. But we follow me at Damian Jackson, at Damian_Jackson on Twitter. You'll see some of my shit. I'm gonna start being more active. My Twitter is not social media in the sense of, hey, it's me and my friends stuff. No, my Twitter is about my website, my YouTube channel, my podcast. I'm tired of the contradictions, tired of the bullshit, and I never really cared too much as how people saw me or people made fun of me or attacked me. Not necessarily happens like that anyways, but my friends, family members, there's always little slick remarks, if you want to call them friends, stuff like that. Acquaintances too, even real friends. But there's always little slick remarks. There's always little things, little jabs here and there. Like, all right, yeah, I'm no longer concerned about it at all because some of this shit is so contradicting and so illogical. Oh, it like drives me crazy. And like, it just, oh man, it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. So I said something about Fox 13 not reporting about the voter fraud. And it's like, just if anything, just give a different perspective. It is out there. There are lawsuits. There are things happening right in front of your face, but you're not looking. And I was talking, and I was just talking to, I just made a comment to Fox 13. I was only talking about Fox 13. And then here comes somebody, random person on Twitter, because that's what happens. And it was like, can you please provide proof or evidence, a link or something? And I was just like, wait, what? What the fuck? Can you please provide? I'm like, who? I'm not. And then I started it. I shouldn't have said nothing, but I went into it. Cause I was like, nah, fuck this. I feel like doing this. And especially if I'm going to have a presence out on the internet, I got to be able to, stand my ground and, have these little, discussions. I'm not having arguments with people. I'm not having an argument with somebody I don't fucking know, that I have no emotional attachment to. And I really stay away from arguments in general anyways, because I say what I'm going to say, and I might defend my position a little bit, but it's not going to last that long, because after a while, I'm just saying what I want to say, and you can either agree or disagree. It doesn't fucking matter to me. And you can see my point of view or you cannot see my point of view. It doesn't matter to me, because I still have my life to live, so I can't be sitting here harping on you. And over the years, I've gotten better at this, so I'm not going to sit and lie and say like I've always been like this. Fuck no. But I gotten better at it over the years since I was a kid, and definitely more so as being an adult. But the guy was like, please provide some evidence and stuff like that. And I was like, and I commented back, like, why would you ask a random person on Twitter for evidence and proof? I'm like, if you want evidence, look it up for yourself. Like, I'm talking to Fox 13, not talking to you. And then he was like, And then you start saying this and bringing up that, or there's no evidence for this, no evidence for that. I'm like, man, it's actually, if you take about 5-10 minutes, you can find evidence if you want to. And he's like, oh, this and that. And he's trying to make all the disputes and claims. And I'm just saying, like I'm not trying to, I didn't specifically say that, but more or less it was implied, because he's like, oh, you won't even provide proof. I'm like, I'm not trying to provide you anything. I'm not here to teach you. That's the problem with people. You want someone to teach you something. People want someone to tell them what the answer is. No, fuck that. You should have the question and you should go find the answer. Because the answer that you find is not what someone tells you. It's what you think is correct. Based on what your own opinion is. Based on your own beliefs. Based on your own morals and standards. Because there's tons of election fraud. There's tons of voter fraud. There's tons of obvious signs of cheating. But if you don't think it matters, then whatever. Or if you think, oh, it's just a little bit, it only affected like 5 or 10,000 votes, then that's your opinion. But at the same time, don't sit here and dismiss it like, oh, I don't find nothing. Funny enough, he was like, oh, where you find this at and all this stuff. So I finally broke down after going back and forth for a little while. I told him, hey, Judicial Watch, if you go to their website or follow them on Twitter, they usually have a lot of factual information. Actually, they have factual information, and they have legal documents backing up their factual information. And then he said, oh, that's a biased website. Well, what the fuck do you want then? I was like, well, if you asked me for evidence and proof, I sent you to a website that usually has, that majority of the time has good factual evidence and proof, and then you say it's biased. So I can't do nothing for you. Like, it's not about me, it's about you. And then he was like, oh, well, and I kept saying, like, why are you trying to ask me? And he was like, well, this is how you learn. This is civil discourse or wherever, where, you ask other people and you learn, but you're not trying to learn. You're trying to discredit me. You're trying to disprove me. You're trying to have an argument with me. I'm like, I'm not trying to have an argument with you because I don't fucking care. And I made sure I didn't cuss, right? I didn't curse, because if I use cuss words, then people will think it's emotional, especially through text. Obviously, as I talk, I cuss anyway. So it's just my normal language. It's my normal speaking manner. But, it's going over text, I make sure, good grammar and stuff like that. And then I was talking about conveying my message or something, like, oh, because you was asking questions that I'm like, I didn't even say nothing about that. So maybe you're doing a bad job explaining it. I'm not doing a bad. I was like, did you read exactly what I said? What are you talking about, guy? And he was like, I never asked you for evidence. I was like, the first thing you said was, please provide proof or evidence. Like, you just asked me for it. What are you talking about? Stop asking me for these things. And I also told him, like, listen to Trump. Trump is telling you. He's putting out the news articles because the media won't fucking report on anything. And he's like, oh, well, these civil lawsuits they're not working out and all this stuff. That's the small time lawsuits where it's maybe from one person or something. And then he was talking about Sidney Powell lawsuit. I'm like, are you serious? I was like, follow the money of Dominion. Follow the money. Follow where the parts come from. So I was like, man, it's just, you can't. And I wasn't trying to wake this dude up. I wasn't trying to alert him to what was going on. He wasn't my concern. I was talking to Fox 13. I'm calling out the bullshit in mainstream media. That's it. Because to every individual, that's for them to decide and decipher on their own. It's up to you to figure out what is going on in the world. But these people that are sitting at the top of these corporations, things like that, they are deliberately putting out false things, and they don't care. Because they don't care if they lie about shit. They don't give a fuck. They care about their lives and their money and what gets them to the top or whatever. They don't care. That local news broadcaster is worried about saying the right things and doing whatever to get to that next level. Self-preservation. To each their own, though. But you're not finna be a major news network and act like you have credibility when you're flat out lying. That's something that I can't respect. And that's something that needs to be called out by all of us. Not just me, not just certain people you follow on social. Every fucking body needs to be calling this shit out. Because until you call it out, these people are just going to keep spewing the same fucking fake shit. That's because they're bought and paid for. They have the sponsors. They have their donors. But whatever, it is what it is. Somebody got to do something. There's a balance in the world. If all the media is lying and saying different things, the balance is someone has to counteract that. Because everything's got to be in balance. We're always constantly struggling to have balance. Right? It is what it is. But as I was talking to the guy, guess who came along? Some other fucking random person. And he's like, this person, I don't even know what to say, pronouns, because I don't even know what the fuck was going on in the bio. Whatever. But this person, I would like to join in this discussion. And then I commented back, like, who are you? I was like, wait, who are you? I'm just a person joining in this public discussion. I'm like, oh, here we go. Another person wanted to double team against me and stuff. But what I thought was funny was the dude later on asked me, he was like, I think he lives in Tampa too, or whatever, somewhere. He later on asked me, he was like, what would you do? Or he's like, do you think, you can tell I can lose my train of thought. I got it though. He was like, so do you only think Dems lie? I was like, no. I was like, do you think I'm a Republican? And then he later on said, well, it seems like you are, or basically something like that. He implied that I was. I'm like, I'm not nothing. I have no association to no political party. Never have. I don't want to say never will, but there's a high probability I won't. As far as like voting wise and, being registered as a Republican or registered as a Democrat, I've always been independent. It was independent party forever, or just independent. And I guess they thought I don't know that associated with independent party. I was trying to just not be labeled any fucking thing. So now my shit does say no party affiliation. Like, perfect. That's exactly what I want. Because I just thought it was funny that he was just implying that, I'm flat out a Trump supporter or whatever and stuff like that. It's not about being a Trump supporter. It's about, hey, shit is fucked up. I won't necessarily call myself a Trump supporter, but I voted for him. Like I said, I'm not going to call myself a supporter because if he does something I don't like anymore, guess what I'm going to do? Fucking be mad and call this shit out. And you'd be like, oh, well, you voted for him. This is what you get. Yeah. Voted for him on that time and moment based on what was going on. If something changed, guess what? If I had a chance to vote for him again, I won't do it. That's what I did with Obama. It all sounded nice. That's when I was much younger. No, I just still didn't trust the shit then. I voted for him because the things he was saying, because he seemed a little bit more relatable. He was very charismatic, and I agree with some of the things he said and stuff. So, and more so over than I think he was running against Mitt Romney or McCain, whoever he was running against then. But hell, right after I voted for him, well, I think he already won before my shit, or he was already projected to win before my vote even counted. But I still didn't believe votes counted. I never believed votes counted anyways. And all this shit goes on, and now we find the evidence of Dominion and all the other stuff. I was like, didn't think my vote had counted anyways. Or if your vote does count, then it wasn't actually affecting the outcome of the election because they were already cheating and doing other stuff like, you know what I mean? Like, your vote can count, but it's still not having any effect because they're too busy, or they're doing other cheating and voter fraud and other shit like that anyways. But I just thought it was funny that the guy was implying all this stuff about me when, once again, see what happens once you have labels, once there's certain categories, people start to associate you with those things and they forget who you are as the individual. He does not know who I am. He does not know Damian Jackson at all. But yet he implied all these different things about me. And I'm pretty sure he was thinking I'm an Uncle Tom. And there's something I had a little spat too with my family members because it's Thanksgiving. We all get into issues or go back and forth with family members over the holidays or anytime. I mean, it's not a holiday, it's anytime. So I'm sure if you had different political views or ideologies, wherever the fuck you want to call it, within your household, or across your house, across the household, within your family, I'm sure you have your moments and stuff. I have my moment. Seen something on well, watching the Bucks game that was on Monday night last week. Bucks fucking losing, whatever. I'm not going to talk about that. I might fuck it, whatever. Still have hope for the season. We're gonna make the playoffs. Fingers crossed, all that good shit. But last Monday night, while the Bucks was playing and stuff, they made the announcement that, oh, the first time in NFL history we have an all-black referee ensemble or whatever. And my family members was looking and like all excited and smiling and stuff. And then I looked at them and I was like, this is the most stupidest thing ever. Of course, me, I say it in the most straight tone, and they just look at me like, whatever. And I was like, this is stupid. There's like, what about this is so encouraging or anything? I'm sitting there thinking, I'm pretty sure it's not even the first time. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Like what? Because it's all black and there's not one white person or one other ethnicity or whatever the fuck you want to say. I'm pretty sure this happens before. But I even try to look up. I could not find no article, nothing like that ever said it happened. It's funny though, when I did look it up, I kept seeing the exact same headline. First all black, or first all African American referee group in the NFL history. I'm just like, how is this a proud moment? How is this a proud accomplishment? And you're probably thinking the same thing. Like, oh man, that sounds great. And as I told one of my family members, I'm like, it all sounds great. It sounds good, right? But you're not actually listening. You're not actually thinking about what the fuck they're saying. This is just so oppressive. This is the most oppressive shit ever. First, you're not African American. If you cannot directly know your direct lineage to any country in Africa, you cannot sit here and say you're African American. All right? If you gotta go back 500 years to find that African ancestry, guess what? That white person next to you on the bus or next to you at school that you work with or whatever can probably trace their same ancestry back to Africa in 400 or 500 years as well. So spare me that bullshit, because that's just being honest. That's just not sitting here trying to ride along with the stupid ass black wokeness type of bullshit. Then, am I supposed to be happy that they say, oh, we got these black people, these black referees? Once again, I told my family member, like, black is a derogatory term. Black is the absence of light. It's the darkness. When you align yourself by saying that you're black, you're saying that you're dark. You're the absence of light. Meanwhile, white people are light. That alone sets up a subliminal mindset within the so-called group of people to let them know that they are opposite of something. When we think black, we think of darkness, we think of evil, we think, if you're a Christian, you think of Satan, things of that nature. Witchcraft, ghosts, darkness, right? Negative beings. But meanwhile, when you hear white, what do you think of? I know you just pictured it. Angels, right? Angelic. Good life forms, right? Even Casper was white. Guess what Casper was? The friendly fucking ghost. Because guess what? Do they not have black ghosts? Dark ghosts, right? Dark shadowy figures, right? But whatever. I'm just saying. There's things you gotta think about. And I was like, so they're sitting there saying we should be happy that there's a whole black referee cast in the NFL, and this is the first time, and we should be happy about this because times have changed and things are looking up. It's bullshit. That's complete bullshit. That's oppressive in its own right. To sit here and say, hey, look, you black people, look what we did for you. We made an all-black referee cast for the first time in history. We did this intentionally. We put it on the fucking screen on Monday night, primetime game where everybody's supposed to be watching, but the ratings are down, so it's not like that many people are watching anyways. but we put it on the fucking screen and we want you to be happy. Look what we did for you. That's the most oppressive shit ever. To be like, look what I did for you. You should be happy. I'm putting you up on this pedestal. Look, you're just about as equal as the rest of us, white people. Like, how do you not see that? How can you not see that? It's because you get sucked up into this category. You get sucked up into these racial ideologies and believing that, oh, well, this is so good because us black people, we finally get to be on the screen. And I was telling my family member, because that person was like, well, you know, if you see a black person on the screen, on TV or whatever, you see them in that position, that gives us, the rest of us, hope that we can do it too. And I was like, I will never, ever in my life look at someone on the screen and think, oh, they're there, I can do it too. What the fuck does that person on the TV screen, that person on the stage, that person being the president, what the fuck that has to do with anything that has anything to do with me? Because no matter what the odds are, if I want to strive to reach a certain goal, I'm going to try my hardest to get there. And just because I can't be a referee in the NFL, if I'm a referee in general and getting paid for it, did I not accomplish my goal? And if my goal is to be a referee in the NFL and I don't make it, guess what? I don't make it. I don't sit here and think, oh, I don't make it because of my skin color and stuff like that. I don't think of those things. I don't think of those things. I don't think of those things because I understand the reality and where we are at now in this timeline. Could it have been something different 60, 80, 100 years ago? Sure. I'll give you that. But where we are right now, in the year that we are in the timeline that we are in, what the fuck does that make sense? What the fuck does that make sense? And if anything, how come black people aren't just like, you know what? Fuck it. You don't want us in your league or whatever, or we can't have referees here? Don't worry, we'll go referee somewhere else. What's so good about your league that makes me feel like I need to be a part of it anyways? I'm not saying be a separatist as far as we only have this for black people, we only have this for white people, we only have this for... Guess what? You can't say any other color about any other type of people without being racist. If I say yellow people, you know you're talking about Asians. How come Asians are a continent, right? How come you're not Japanese American? You're not Chinese American? You're not Indonesian American? You're not Thailand American? Korean American? We just say Asian. But you can't say yellow people because it's racist. You can't say redskin, can't say red people for Indians because you can't say Indians. You have to say Native Americans. But you're okay with the term black people and white people. The shit is so blaringly contradictory and it's so much of a double standard. The shit should just blow your fucking mind away. And you should just be like, what the fuck is going on here? None of this shit makes sense. So to go back, when I see a person on the screen, I don't think of those things. Because we know there's laws in place to combat discrimination, and that's all you can do. And those laws are in place because we the people, right? I don't want to say that I'm in the same situation or a worse situation or going through the same thing that people of my skin tone went through 50, 60, 80, 100 years ago. Because it's disrespectful to those people. Understand that. That's disrespectful to those people. I live in a suburb. I'm middle class income. I'm a single parent. Understand this. I'm breaking all the fucking racial stereotypes throughout my whole life. So if I can do it, and other people have done it, what am I need to celebrate for? What should I be happy they put an all black referee cast? I keep saying the word cast, but that's basically what it is. They intentionally did that. You want to know why? Because the NFL wants to market to people and be like, look at us. Look at what we're doing. See, we care about social justice. We care about these social norms, even though they're trying to go away from it a little bit because their ratings are down. They're still trying to be like, oh, look, we care. See, we care. Look, black people, we care. And I told my family member, I'm like, this is pandering. They're trying to feed into your emotions to be like, look what we're doing. We care about you. You, the NFL, the league owners, the commissioner, the league officers, y'all care about money. Everybody cares about money. Don't come at me saying you care about social justice and shit like that. Because at the end of the day, if you don't fuck with me and I don't fuck with you, that's all we really can ask for. Mind your fucking business. And I'm sure one of you people out there is going to have a fucking, different opinion. I'm going to be called a coon. Even though nobody's going to say it directly to me, they're thinking it. I know. As I was telling my family, I'm like, oh, I know if I say this, I'm a cracker lover. Even though cracker you think is a derogatory name, but even though it's not, because the slave master whipped cracker. But anyways, I'm going to be called Uncle Tom, which is also not a derogatory name because Uncle Tom was a fictional character in the book and he set free the slaves and stuff like that. But whatever. I'm going to be called a coon. I'm going to call all these supposedly so-called derogatory names for a black person that sells out his own black people because, Lord forbid, me as a quote-unquote black person decides to, I don't know, think for myself, decides to think differently, decides not to follow these social norms, decides not to follow these social categories, these racial categories, these racial profiles, these fucking stereotypes. Oh my God, it's like I'm doing something so egregious that is just so wrong. My family member was like, well, you're the only one that thinks like that, and that's the problem. Nah, maybe the problem is no one else thinks like this. And I'm not saying I'm thinking completely different than everybody else. All I'm saying is social peer pressure. Stand up to it. If the shit doesn't make sense to you, it doesn't make sense, man. Nobody has to explain it to you. If you sat down and you thought a lot about it and you balance out the logic, rational side versus your emotional side and you found balance and still the shit doesn't make sense, guess what? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Didn't Martin Luther King say be judged by the content of your character, not the color of your skin? Yet all we keep seeing is, oh, look, the color of these people's skin, look what they can do. They can all be referees at the same time in the NFL. At what point in time are they judged by the content of the character or their referee skills? What the fuck is going on, man? And I know you're thinking it. Because as I'm talking, part of you is like, wait a minute. And that's what you got to hold on to. That quick moment where you're like, wait a minute, the fuck does this mean? That's what you have to dive into. You have to dig deep into and hold on to that moment. Because as a child, that's where you were. Your curiosity. Shit didn't make sense. For anyone that has kids or been around kids, you also, you got to explain things to kids. Are you explaining things to kids? Or are you conditioning them to follow the same social norms, the same programming and brainwashing that you have went through so they could fit into society? Guess what? We all fit into society. Guess what society is? A bunch of us walking around trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. That's it. We all agree in society. We probably all shouldn't fucking hate each other just because of some physical features. Probably not a good idea. We can't really get work done. So it's mutually beneficial for everybody in society to work together. Now, if you go home and you have a fucking Ku Klux Klan hood in your closet, what the fuck ever. But when you come outdoors and engage with the rest of us in society, I need you to be on your best respectful manner because golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated. Treat others how you want to be treated. Now you can say that, they broke the mold and all. Like, having black people been in, and I'm saying black people obviously in the term for others to understand because whatever. But in that sense, like, there's been already tons of black people in there. Shit is wild, right? Shit is wild, man. There's already black referees just because you decided to throw an ensemble in this year. in this year where social justice has taken over because everybody wants to be on the quote unquote good side. Everybody wants to feel good about themselves. As I was telling my family members, like, everybody just doing these things because, it sounds good. You want to feel good. Why? You can't get caught up in this wokeness, this so-called wokeness. It's not wokeness. It's not wokeness. Just because you're all of a sudden learning about some things in history doesn't make you woke. There is no wokeness. What you need to do is deprogram yourself. Understand that you've been lied and manipulated. Because wherever the history is, you can go back into history and look up things. Far as we know, you're still only getting a minuscule part of history. Because in the history books, guess what they're telling us? They're always telling us the most negative things. They're always highlighting the most negative things. They'll tell you about slavery. And they'll tell you white people own black people as slaves. But they won't tell you that black people own black people as slaves. Far as you know, there could have been black people that own white people as slaves. And he's like, oh, that didn't happen. Are you sure? Because it doesn't fit the narrative. Because if one group of people are trying to oppress another group of people for their own financial benefit, because that's what it comes down to, finance. You can get mad if you want to, but what it comes down to is finances. And what it comes down to is the economy, what it comes down to is money, and what it comes down to is people will do fucked up shit to advance themselves. And they'll use each other too. To help advance themselves. They'll use each other, they'll use someone else, it doesn't matter. If you don't know anything about Mansa Musa, you probably should look him up. If you don't know anything about the Mali Empire, that was around the 1300s and part of the early 1400s, probably should look that up. Ghana Empire, probably should look that up. The west coast of Africa, the Moroccans, probably should look that up. Probably should see where slavery really goes. Probably should understand that no matter what part of the world you're in, wherever the majority is will always try to dominate the minority. Or the minority will try to perceive themselves as a majority in order to dominate the majority. People are just fucked up. I mean, that's all it comes down to, man. People just fucked up. People just fucked up, man. People just fucked up. You gotta let go of these things. Because you always have that moment where you're like, something doesn't make sense. But you don't want to say it out loud. Because you're afraid to say it out loud. Because you're going to be called out your name. You're going to be ridiculed. You don't think my friends and family members, you don't think I know like I said before, I know they ridicule me. I know they talk about me. You can hear it in their tone. You can hear it by certain words that they say. It doesn't change nothing. I still love them. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything. And I learned I don't harbor any ill will towards anybody. My friends, family members, any stranger, no. I don't harbor any ill will towards them. None of that stuff. Like I said, Buddhism helped me deal with a lot of things. And part of trying to understand and deal with things, I had to also tackle other things. Such as this. Such as knowing some people can say nasty things about you or even to you, but it's not really about you. It's about themselves. They're either projecting or whatever the case may be, but it's not about you. So I learned to let that go. I learned to I'm still trying to find peace within myself, but I might not find it in this lifetime. Don't worry. I'll die. Do that bitch again. Maybe be a different life form. Who the fuck knows? But just to you have that moment where you're like, hey, I don't think this makes sense. But you don't say it. You want to keep it to yourself. You kind of keep that thought to yourself. But at the same time, you kind of want to also, you might get in a discussion with somebody and they might be like, oh, well, that's messed up. That's messed up. Because if I'm around my black friends or whatever the case may be, I'm not black enough. I'm not black enough for black people. I'm not black enough for white people. I'm not black enough for anybody. Hell, somebody might even say that, if they hear me use some slang words, actually this happened when I was a kid. Now, if I use a couple of slang words here and there, like, oh, he's trying to sound black. I was like, oh, okay. I heard you. I heard what the fuck you said. I'm not trying to sound black. I'm just saying certain words at a certain time because I feel like using it. That's it. I'm not trying to sound anything. You know what I'm saying? I am the way I am because I had to face these things. No different than the rest of us. I had to face hearing someone tell me that you're not black enough because you sound like a white boy. Think about that statement. I am not black enough because I sound like a white boy. Understand that. Understand how derogatory that statement is. And you're thinking it. Because when you think how black people talk, guess what you're doing? Stereotypes. Oh, look. You're biased. Now, if you're not black, guess what you are? Racist. That's how fucked up this shit is, man. But what you really are is just a human being trying to understand and really getting lost in all this craziness. And it's psychological. It's psychological. I can enslave your mind. I can program your mind. I can tell you to think and act a certain way. The psychological, the metaphysical chains is a little bit different than obviously the blaring physical chains, right? The constraints where you cannot speak a certain way. You cannot be articulate because if you are, you're white. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hey, what are you doing, black man? You're listening to rock and roll? You're white. You want to ride a skateboard? You're white. What are you doing? Darius Rucker, Hootie and the Blowfish, you're saying country music? You're white. And now we say, oh, well, I'm black. Look at me. I'm a black person riding a skateboard. I'm doing something different. Oh, wow. A human being doing another thing that other humans do. Crazy concept. Such extraordinary. Look at you. Bold, brave, breaking out, doing something that you're told you're not supposed to do. This shit is hilarious, man. This shit is hilarious. And you know what? When you listen to this, you're not even going to be pissed off. You're not even going to be like, what the fuck is he talking about? You're going to really question, like, wait a minute. What the fuck is going on here? What are we actually talking about? Like I said, I've been wrong about a lot of shit. I will continue to be wrong about a lot of shit. I can be right about shit too. But there's a lot of fucked up things going on where, like I said, shit just doesn't make sense. And that's all I'm trying to figure out. What the fuck is going on to the extent where shit just doesn't make sense? So much shit doesn't make sense. I've been deprogramming myself for shit. I guess I don't even know if I was brainwashed to a level extent, but since I was a kid, I had to make sure I constantly kept don't fall into these things. You know, don't fall into these categories. Don't be caught into what they're trying to tell you. Because you're being played. You're being manipulated. But I completely went off from my whole vacation, right? It tied into it. But like I said, like I had this little discussion going back and forth with some family members and stuff during the football game about it. And that was my whole take on it. And I just been needing to get off my chest just to say that. This is my therapy session, right? You guys just get a chance to enjoy it. Or laugh at me, entertainment, criticize me, judge me, you know, do whatever the fuck you want to do. If you feel like I said, judge me. If you want to judge me, judge me. Whatever. It is what it is. But the rest of the vacation obviously was good. Like family members, you're going to go have these little spats with family members. It's nothing. Nothing changes. It's not like I don't love my family members any less or anything. It's not like I don't even like them any less. Like nothing like that. It still is. Still my family members. Love them to death. Still enjoy spending time with them. Still will take trips in the future with them. It is what it is. Whatever. But that's what the holidays are for, right? Come together. Have your moments. Do things. And I hope you spend time with people because, you know, the media and people like Fauci were telling you, hey, don't go have Thanksgiving with anybody because it's gonna make things worse. Yeah, but your emotional well-being probably make things worse too, because you can't be, with your family members that you haven't seen for a while. Then again, some of y'all probably like, fuck my family members, I want to see them anyway. But hey, that's to each their own as well. That's your choice as well. Speaking of Fauci, I had retweeted earlier an article from Zero Hedge, but basically, even within the article, Fauci, actually, the headline of the article, Dr. Fauci finally confirms that children don't catch or transmit COVID-19 in large numbers. And obviously, do your own research. You can go to my Twitter account, Damien_Jackson, and you'll find the article, or fucking better yet, go to Zero Hedge. You'll find the article there. Research it, find it on the internet, wherever the case may be. So web search, probably don't use Google. You might not ever fucking find it. I don't know. But quote unquote, from Dr. Fauci himself, quote unquote, look at the data. The spread from children and among children is not very big at all. Not like one would have suspected. Yeah. You can check out my previous podcast, my previous episodes, and I touched on that back, I think probably sometime in like May, June, sometime over the summer. I really need to go through and title all the episodes so you don't have to necessarily look at the description and stuff. I'm doing a better job of that now. Really dropped the ball on that one. I fucking suck. Yes. But part of me is like, hey, I should probably not. I need to find context, or maybe he wasn't talking about COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2 virus. Maybe he was talking about something else. But then again, what the fuck else has Fauci been talking about this year? Fucking never heard of Fauci's name until this year, right? It's not a coincidence at all either, but whatever. But also, I think it's interesting as well is that as the case numbers rises, and we're over 13 million, and I think we hit 200,000 deaths back in, it was October or September. Now we're at 272,000. So as the case number climbs, and all they talk about is cases, guess what they don't talk about? Deaths. Because they don't want you to pay attention to deaths, because they already talked about the guidelines that the CDC came out with. Only 6% of the actual deaths that are accounted for have actually been from COVID-19 alone. And you probably can still argue those numbers as well. But they don't talk about deaths, because they don't want you to know that if you do the quick math, 2% case fatality rate. Meaning those that catch SARS-CoV-2 and develop the disease. Damn, let's try to not make that all run together. COVID-19, the chance of you dying from it, if you catch it, the virus and stuff like that, 2% chance. And we know that goes to elderly and people with pre-existing conditions. As well, more so, pay attention to what they say and what is going on. If he says it's not that much of a spread in children, why are they shutting down schools? Oh, well, the data now says this, and I think they did a Senate hearing. I don't know if that was today or the other day. Yeah, I don't know when it was, but there was a Senate hearing, and Rand Paul was basically, it was about reopening America. And Rand Paul, who's also, I believe, a medical doctor, same as his father, had questions for Fauci and stuff. And Fauci was saying basically like, we don't really know. He was basically saying, we still don't really know exactly what's going on with this virus or how things are going to happen. Contradictions. Because you've been making predictions and stuff, based on these so-called models. But at the same time, you're saying we don't know exactly what's going on and how it's going to happen. but you also was pushing vaccines, but you also kind of backstepping, like, oh, we don't know exactly if these vaccines will work, or you might need to take multiple shots. He's just always throwing out different things and trying to make sure he doesn't stick nothing to it, because self-preservation. At the end of the day, he don't want to lose his job. His nice cushy job. He don't want to lose that shit. His nice paycheck, his benefits, the money that we don't talk about that we know he's probably getting from all these other pharmaceutical companies and shit. I mean, let's be honest. We know how this goes. You stay in government for a long ass period of time, you gotta be questioned. Even someone like Ron Paul, which I like and respect, you still gotta question. Just gotta question it. You've been in government a long time. I mean, he's been retired as far as being in Congress, being a representative. But yeah, you gotta question these things. You gotta question it. But I just thought it was interesting when I seen that article. I was like, look at this shit. Look at this. The goalpost is always constantly moving. They're always constantly backtracking. If anything, they'll say, oh, we made a mistake. They're lying. They didn't make no fucking mistake. They did what they wanted to do. And they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They're not going to say, oh, maybe we overreacted. No, they did what they wanted to do. It's intentional. It's intentional because you already have enough data from previous things. Like it's SARS-CoV-2. SARS-CoV-2. So, part of coronavirus family, respiratory virus. You already have a background what's going on. And I fell for it in the first couple of weeks. And I was like, actually in March. Before then, I was like, well, they said it's just like the flu, so it's not that bad. And then March, once I started talking about shutting down things, I was like, oh, they're willing to affect the money, then yeah, this is real. You know, like this is serious. This is an issue. They really don't know what's going on. I got blindsided because I still have some type of level of trust that they wouldn't be so obvious to just fuck up everybody's life. Just to disrupt everyone's lives, just to crash the economy, just to get Trump out. I totally underestimated that aspect. And I'll admit that shit. Easily. Like I said, those first 2 weeks, I was like, okay. Towards the end of March, I was like, what the fuck? No, something's not right about this shit. And I mentioned that before. So I don't want to go all the way down into that. Check out the other podcasts if you give a fuck enough to care what the fuck I said about it. Or listen to it if you just want to fucking be like, oh, fuck Damien. He don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Hey, that's your prerogative as well. Wherever the case may be. But to kind of wrap it up, because I obviously went on a rant about other shit because it's what I do. Because I'm trying to hit all different points and it ties in. If you're paying close enough attention, it ties in. Because my whole trip was about, going to New Orleans. Noticing these racial things that they talk about and stuff and seeing all these so-called, supposed to be black people walking around. But at the same time, these black people are also Native Americans, right? But they're Creole. So wherever, I don't even know exactly what the term Creole means. Right? I probably should look it up, right? Is that simple? Creole seasoning. Fucking what the fuck? From Britannica.com. Creole, originally, any person of European, mostly French or Spanish, or African descent. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Get the fuck out of here. French, European, French or Spanish or African. What the fuck? What the fuck? It's like, are this, are that, are that, are that, are this. Everything doesn't have to be this or that. You can be this and this and this. Doesn't have to be an or. Let me go back and read it again. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm sorry. It just made me laugh too fucking much. So originally, any person, French, any person of European, mostly French or Spanish, and that was in parentheses, or African descent, outside parentheses, born in the West Indies, which would be your Caribbean islands, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the Caribbean islands and things of the Gulf of Mexico. Now, obviously, I said New Orleans, Louisiana. I don't know how we got Creole from the Caribbean islands and the West Indies into there, but whatever. Whatever, because like I said, I was in New Orleans, they talk about natives. They talked about natives. I don't even know if I even fucking heard the word Creole or seen it written anywhere or whatever. And thus, African descent born in the West Indies are parts of French or Spanish America, which guess what? Also already have African descents, because if you live in Morocco and other northern parts of Africa, the continent, I forget what the other countries are called, the Rock of Gibraltar, get in the boat, guess where you're at? France, Spain, Portugal. It's like people forgot that the Portuguese was the ones that were part of the Atlantic slave trade that went to the Caribbeans and South America, Brazil. But we don't talk about the Portuguese. In fact, when you think of Atlantic slave trade, you think of what? European, you think of English, British people, white people. See how everything is distorted and warped? Because you always need a villain and you always need opposing sides, because you got to keep people separated. You got to keep opposing sides, because this is how you control populations. But hey, it's conspiracy theories. I'm just making shit up, right? This shit ain't real. This shit doesn't exist. I'm just making it up. My perspective is totally skewed, right? It is what it is. It goes on to say, and thus naturalized in those regions rather than in the parent's home country. The term has since been used with various meanings, often conflicting or varying from region to region. I'm not going to go on to read the rest of it. I mean, because it's basically saying whatever. The term means whatever the fuck the term means, because it's got so much lost in translation, doesn't fucking matter. Think about France and Spain. Understand, the difference between France and Spain is the same difference between Georgia and Florida. You can't make this shit up, man. Think about this stuff, man. We talk about someone being French and being Spanish. We act like they're completely separate land masses, far completely away from each other. But we're talking about the difference between Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, Panhandle, Alabama, Mississippi. You didn't even know you crossed the state lines if it wasn't for a fucking sign on the interstate. You wouldn't even know. You wouldn't even fucking know. So outside of some lines, outside of a sign or a road or something like that, will you even know that you crossed from Spain to France? And I haven't been to Spain or France, so I don't want to get too much into it, because, like I said, I could be wrong, but I don't know. Just saying. You know, these borders that we think are borders are imaginary lines on a map, and we all just happen to, or certain neighboring countries, whatever the case may be, can use same maps to say, hey, look, this line is here. And then and usually they go around natural borders, but not always. Not always. Like I said, there's no real natural border from Florida and Georgia, other than a sign and a road. But whatever. Once again, I'm just talking. I'm just saying something. This is my thought process. You probably don't see it that way. Maybe you do. It is what it is. But overall, the trip was good, right? As I tie back in the race and the COVID-19 because of the mass being in Louisiana, the race because of what I seen there, and where they talk about Native Americans and they were dark-skinned people like me, or what do you want to say, copper colored skin, brown skin people like me. And then also going on to talking with my family and stuff like that about different racial issues or what you want to say. Because in society, we're always constantly told race, 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 race. Race, race, race. Think of the word race. What the fuck does it even mean? Race. Race. Think about these words. You run a race. You think of a race as a competition, a sporting event. But you also think of race as how to divide people by color? Or is it by landmass? Or is it by ancestral lineage? Or what the fuck is it? Or is it all these things and none of it at the same time? But I'm thinking about all these things I was thinking about while I was on vacation, because it was all in my face just by visiting a different location. Get out there and live. Get out there and experience things. Get out there and see something else that makes you think, that piques your interest, that sparks that little neuron connection in your brain. It's like, hey, what the fuck is going on here? Just by going to Louisiana, it made me think. I was thinking about racial issues, which I'm always thinking about, because, like I said, the contradictions, the double standards stuff. But just having that experience and going to that place and visiting, and obviously at a time like this with the virus and cases and all this other stuff, it puts all that into a thought process, into a brainstorming session. And it can either confirm or deny what I was already thinking. Or it can just lead me to another thought, which leads me to another thought, which leads me to another thought. Because at the end of the day, it's all about deprogramming myself. And I don't even think I was that much programmed in a sense, but at the same time, I know everything's a lie. And the more I dig into stuff, it still is a lie. First time I heard African American black people are from Africa, I never once believed that shit, because it didn't make sense. Because I was like, well, if my parents aren't from Africa, and then my grandparents aren't from Africa, and then my great-grandparents aren't from Africa, I was like, I don't know how much further down the genetic line I have to go until I find someone that is from Africa to say, oh yeah, this person's from Africa. Now I know why I'm African American 5-6 generations down the line. Does that make sense to you? Does any of that make fucking sense? If you're 2, 3, 4, 5 generations removed from some other continent, the fuck, it's one thing. You can acknowledge it, acknowledge the history, but where are you at right now? What reality are you experiencing right now? Understand history, understand these things, but it's so you learn and you don't do the same mistakes, or you don't do the same shit, or you do it differently. You think differently, or you just be your own self. But to kind of wrap it up, which I think I said already, probably like 10 minutes ago, 15, whatever, who knows? You probably do, because you're like, hey, motherfucker, you been saying you're going to finish up now, but whatever. So the trip was good. I enjoyed it. Like I said, it was an experience. It's a great experience. Plan to continue to make more trips in different places, parts of the world. I always travel. Part of the reason is military, and part of the reason is on my own. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what I saw. I enjoyed the interaction I had with different people. Well, necessarily serious conversations, whatever, but just different things. Seeing how another city is an experience stuff. And more importantly, the best thing was spending time with my family, spending time with the people I love, spending time with, the people that I share a bond with, and obviously share a genetic direct lineage with too as well. So I enjoyed it. Like I said, definitely get out there and travel when you're comfortable, though, because if you are concerned about getting sick, then obviously don't go. That's your prerogative. That's your choice. Don't go. If you're concerned about it, or if you are concerned about getting sick and you still want to go, then you take your necessary precautions that, like I said, your own risk level assessment. figure out what's best for you and what you're comfortable with. To each their own. If you notice, I've never said anything negative about anybody that wants to believe in these mask mandates or lockdowns or anything. I don't call people stupid because I don't want to call nobody stupid, because it's not about whether you're smart. In my mind, it's not about whether you're smart or dumb or any of that shit like that. For me, it's just your own logic and emotional balance, your own logic and reasoning and stuff, or it's just all on you. Now, do I agree with it? No, I don't agree with it. Obviously, I done said that shit enough times. I don't agree with it. But to each their own. To each their own. Now, could I be frustrated by hearing it? Of course. I'm human. At least I like to think I'm human. Homo sapien, I guess so. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes everybody look at me like I'm fucking from another planet or something. Like I'm this weird, strange being. I know people think I'm weird. I know. Like I said, I know my friends and family members think I'm weird. I said it a million times almost. It seems like every podcast I say, it makes me wonder, like, do I constantly heavily think about it? No, I don't. I say these things because I think it's interesting that I know what other people are saying about me that are close to me. Doesn't matter. It's not gonna waver my own thought process. And I guess that's really why I say it so much on here, is to get that emphasis, that point across, that be yourself, because you gotta live with yourself. You gotta wake up in the morning and see yourself in the mirror when you brush your fucking teeth. You the person that you will never spend no amount of time with any other being on this earth, in this reality, other than with yourself. So if you can't enjoy your own self and your company, and you can't be comfortable with your own thoughts and emotions, then there's an issue. And don't worry, just gotta work on it. Be comfortable in your own skin. So I hope y'all had a good week, good holiday week. We're going to the Christmas holiday season. Some of y'all already said fuck Thanksgiving and went already into the Christmas holiday season. Nothing wrong with that either. I want to say I'll be back on tomorrow to do another episode. Shit. Don't hold me to it, though. Don't hold me to it. Because I had some things listed down, but then, man, I want to do some other stuff. So I don't know if I'll be back on tomorrow. I definitely will have some more episodes uploaded throughout this week. Check out my YouTube channel. Once again, Damian Jackson. I want you motherfuckers to remember the name. Like a Fort Minor song. Remember the name. That's what I want you to do, because I'm like, fuck this. I'm not into nicknames and stuff like that. But I want everybody to know who my name is. And what, like, hey, you're Damian Jackson. I'm putting my name all over the fucking place. Maybe it's narcissism. I mean, you can say that. Let's be honest. You can say it's narcissism. You can say I'm conceited. Maybe I got an ego. You can go ahead and say that. I don't think that. I just think it's just easy for me to see my own shit. It's easier for me to, like, instead of having all these different usernames or D&D _ Jack22, because sometimes you can't do underscore or stuff like that. I'm like, fuck this. It's just easier for me to, if I just put Damian Jackson everywhere, it's consistent. That's it. It's easier. It's consistent to me if I just put Damian Jackson, and I could throw in a 22 or something like that, and then, okay, this is still me. It's all the same. I'm not having, because I feel like I have multiple usernames or different variations of D-Jack and stuff like that, and because a lot of times I thought I have to have usernames anyways, and a username like a nickname, but I don't know why it never really occurred to me. Just put my fucking name. Makes too much sense. Once again, the most obvious thing. Why don't you just put your fucking name? It's always obvious. There's so many things that I skipped over that was completely obvious. So yeah. So I should be back on later this week, upload a couple episodes. Look out for my website, my Twitter, Follow me on social media, I guess, if you give a fuck enough to follow me there. Who cares? Follow me on YouTube if you give a shit about my channel at all. I'm the worst at like marketing and promoting myself. I'm like, yeah, follow me or not, whatever. Do whatever you want to do. I don't care. It is what it is. You can not like this shit and you just follow me just to hear me say what you think is dumb shit. That's fine too. I also probably will have some choice words for you as well. Even though I would try to stay away from that because I don't want to make it personal, even though I take everything personal. But, you know, it is what it is. And man, I'm going to make shirts, man. Let's just say whatever, or it is what it is, or just the constant shit I fucking say. So, check me out later this week. Hopefully, this December kicks off pretty well for you and everything is great. Everybody have a blessed week. And you will hear from me later on. So until next time.